The smoke has risen from the coconut tree, everyone, and Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota has fallen out. He, yes, is the VP pick for the Harris campaign, the progressive choice of them all, right? You had Mark Kelly in the running, as well as Andy Bashir from Kentucky, as well as Josh Shapiro, and so much hand wringing about Josh Shapiro, so many bad faith, claims of anti-Semitism. It's just so much BS with Josh Shapiro. And I'm glad I just ducked under that wave and came up and breathed all the air of Tim Walz. Tim Walz is a second-term governor. If you don't know, he is a veteran. He's a former public high school teacher. He is the same age as Kamala Harris, which is interesting. He needs her skin routine, I think. But no, and he has done a lot of incredible things. Let me see, Lori, are you there? Are you there?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Hell yeah.
I'm on the phone. Listen, I tweeted that because there's like Tim in his 20s and Tim now, and it's like I said, high school students age you faster than the presidency, because I would not have paired those two as the same person remotely. But I love him.
Yeah, no, he's great. I think let's just, before we get into what he did in Minnesota, when we started hearing about him, I think the first time I saw him was like the image of him being hugged by a bunch of children in his state because he passed universal school lunches, actually breakfast and lunch. But other than that, on this campaign, he was the one to coin this term weird, right? I don't know what you thought of that, Lori, before I jump into it. What did you think of the rebrand of, like, instead of calling Republicans like fascists, threat to democracy, just being like, they're weird?
I like it because fascist is appealing to some people, apparently. They're like, yeah, sign me up. And we've grown numb to it. And the fact, because I think fascism it's quick, but it's also takes a long time. Like, the more you hear it's fascism, but your life hasn't changed a lot, you go, well, it's maybe not fascism. I think we're growing numb to the threat, even though it's totally real.
Right.
And weird is it's just a different way. It's like a different pivot of looking at somebody and going, yeah, like, why are you guys making posters of Donald Trump with like a sort of romantic YA hunk chest? And why do you do all of that stuff? And instead of them having to, pretend fascism isn't a bad idea, they have to go, well, that's normal, right? And it's not. And so I like it. It kind of puts them in a very weird, odd defensive position, because also weird is hard to define. It's hard to define, but you know it when you see it, much like porn, from that Supreme Court case so long ago. Anyway,
oh God,
so I think it's been very clever, and it kind of did everyone kind of, I don't know, everyone, just like how everyone got on board with Kamala very quickly. Everyone's like, yeah, like, they're fucking weird, right?
They're fucking weird, yeah.
Sorry. It just the relief of not having to say Trump will be worse when we're defending Biden, and instead of doing that, we can go, not only is she gonna be a lot better, but let's look at you guys.
Yeah.
You're all strange, and what you're doing is not normal. And
why do you care so much about what's in people's pants and who they sleep with and what books they read? But here is Walz. Here was one of his first appearances on MSNBC, and it's pretty amazing. And he just crushes it like this. So take a look.
Is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small town America. My town had 400 people in it, 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and he gets it all wrong. It's not about hate. It's not about collapsing in. The golden rule there is mind your own damn business. Their policies are what destroyed rural America. They've divided us. They're in our exam rooms. They're telling us what books to read. And I think what Kamala Harris knows is bringing people together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle middle class, healthcare that's affordable and accessible. Those are the things. You look what they're talking about. They went right to division. They did not give us a plan on healthcare. Donald Trump talked about infrastructure. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris built bridges, built roads. So I think this is going back to the bread and butter, getting away from this division. We do not like what has happened where we can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with our uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary. and I think bringing back
About
people
woke.
Together. Well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something. That's what they go at. That's
He-Man Women Haters Club. I mean, Lori, we could have workshopped that one, but like, I like it. It's not the word. Like, He-Man Women Haters Club is pretty fun. Like, he even called them on being misogynist.
Yeah, I love it. He looks like a guy who's not going to say those words, and when he does, it feels like a cool drink of water on a hot day, you know?
Dude, you know what else feels like a cool drink of water? The fact that he can like land a full sentence and be clear, and your mind isn't like filling in what he's trying to say like it was with Biden. Like it's so messed up to say, but I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, he's so cogent. He's so cogent.
And also the relief of not having to defend that, and go, he has a stutter, he's 81.
Jesus Christ.
I know. I didn't realize how exhausting it was until I didn't have to do it anymore.
It's nice to be honest and be like, oh yeah, ooh, that was a big burden. And here he is, talking about healthcare, talking about labor unions. Basically, it seems like this pick is very much trying to get to the rest of the Biden agenda that Joe Manchin and others basically made him leave on the table. And I think that's really good. And he speaks, look, the other thing about women haters is it, again, like fashion, like, sorry, misogynist is very like, what does that even mean? Three syllable word, blah. Women haters, easy. We're on the other side of the whole cat lady narrative. It works. And here he is also saying, like, look, we don't have to just be defensive. We can be for something. And you hear the universality of this kind of messaging.
Why is it so hard to understand? When somebody else gets them right, it's not like a damn pie. Oh, somebody got a bigger piece of pie. I don't get it. Rights aren't that way. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody to be included. Same thing with jobs. Same thing with housing. Same thing with health care. So, you saw it. We are not going to allow them to make the case. Yes, they're a threat, but we're not going to stay in their frame. We're not going to stay where they're at. We're not going to play their game. We called them out for the weird nonsense that they believe, and we presented a different argument to the American public. One where everybody matters. One where we can achieve. One where we solve problems. And what's so great about this is, we know here in Minnesota, that message works. We are the majority. That's why they shrink the vote. That's why they make it harder to vote. That's why they try and bring fear. And that's why they try and get you to the point where you're pessimistic. And what difference does it make? But guess what? I got a 23-year-old. TikTok cares again. People care again. We've got folks out there doing the work just like you. So here's the deal. Think about this. And for the young folks that are in here, this is a transformational moment. This is an opportunity to go and then to put those policies into place.
Okay, look, TikTok's back. Lori, I know you've got a kid. Is TikTok back? We memeing Walz?
Yeah, he's excited to vote for Kamala. So we're all in, and he's become quite progressive over the past couple of months. Like, I think the spotlight being on Trump and JD and how strange it all is, and maybe my influence as well, has made him go, wow, these are not people I want, guiding my future. And just watching him speak, Tim, it's like story and charisma really matter.
Yeah.
And he has a great story, and just talking about his kid and his background, he's just so believable, and I guess authentic.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a big Bernie bro, but like even a Bernie bro gets tired of the exact same lines over and over again, and like Bernie does
Yeah.
like notoriously doesn't like to talk about his story. He's just about, the facts and the stats and whatnot. And it's nice to hear Tim Walz with the same or similar populist message, but with a lot of warmth, I would say. So yes, that is on the surface. But underneath, let's just briefly talk about the things that he did with a very slim majority in the state legislature in Minnesota. So again, it wasn't all him. It was, and I think a lot of people who know his record better than I do are like, look, it was basically, progressives in the legislature that pushed him, and he didn't stand in their way.
Oh,
So universal background checks for guns, codifying protections for abortion, contraception, fertility treatments, and any other reproductive health care, added a child tax credit for parents and families, paid family medical leave, restored voting rights for formerly incarcerated people, that universal lunch program that made him look like, Santa's jealous, basically, legalized recreational marijuana, banned conversion therapy for the LGBTQ community, and then granting trans people seeking gender affirming care, basically like protection. If you go to the state to get trans affirming care, you can't be, I don't know, extradited, like prosecuted. I mean, that's the world. This is the country we're fucking living in now. So really just this wish list of progressive stuff. And like, I think for me and Lori, I don't know if you've seen some of this. It seems like Kamala is serious about taking up the care economy piece around like paid family leave, universal pre-K, elder care, and helping not just those who need care, but also the workers who are, in the care, providing the care to the elderly, making that accessible and affordable and fair paying. So God, I think there's so much to do. I'm excited for the campaign appearances, but he's also like the anti-Vance, right? He's like,
yeah.
everyone's like, this is like what Vance cosplays as, is like the average guy from a rural area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's the guy I was hoping for, and I didn't want to hope for it because they always don't do what I want. They always get like close, and then it turns into that. Then you're like, oh, somebody talked to James Carville 5 minutes before the announcement. Okay, that's what it seems like it's happened over and over, except for Biden, of course, but over and over again. And it was just nice to go, oh, that maybe they're gone finally from the Democratic Party.
God. You and I have done, I feel like we've been sometimes commentators on MSNBC, and James Carville, like, why do you drag this gator psycho? I don't know, this guy.
I know.
The last thing he said was like, there's too many women in the Democratic Party, too many uppity women. Bitch, your uppity woman, Nancy Pelosi, just delivered and apparently reportedly not just delivered, I mean, booted Biden, but also was pulling for Walz, which is like, okay, Nance, like, I didn't know you had it in you to pull for someone progressive.
I know. And that's the other thing. It's like, it's not completely an age thing, because I think she's older than Biden. So she is able to get her stuff done behind the scenes. Yeah, that was kind of incredible. I really, I just feel like every news article is a rumor at this point. Like, they're not getting everything. And I'm excited to read a book like 10 years from now that really talks to all the players in the last, say, 3 weeks about the whole weekend is a book. Yeah. And who did it, and who wanted it and who didn't, I'm curious, like, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because remember, Nancy was saying if Biden didn't leave, there was going to be a hard way that she would make him leave. And I'm like, what is she going to stage some sort of murder, like frame him for some shit, like talk about how he actually smelled her hair, whatever, like something weird.
I don't know, but I'm also just curious what it was like to be Kamala for those, I'd say, 36 hours where it's right in front of you, but you have to act like you don't want it and you're not pushing for it, but it's the right thing. Everyone knows it's the right thing, and you just have to sort of sit there. That is such an odd position to be in, and she navigated it perfectly.
Dude, I was just thinking this not to like, I don't think this veers into like, not to talk about it too much because I don't want to depoliticize it, but I am very fascinated with how her pick for VP, how that's informed by her experience as a VP. Because I do think that Biden, kept her at an arm's length on a lot of things, and also stuck her with really tough things like being the one to stop migration. Go forth, Veep. Go do the thing that takes like 5 different agencies and so much reform and like what?
Right.
So I do think it's interesting like how she wants to lead. Does she want him to be symbolic and just, I think is it just utilitarian, or does she see him just like a lot of women often see our peers as a partner, like as someone who can work with us, who has good ideas?
And to help sell a policy that white men may not be okay with coming from her alone.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. 100%.
It's
I want healthcare from you. I mean, it's the Obama thing. I don't want healthcare from you.
Right. But you might take it from him. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
He's obviously, they had to pick a white man. They had to. And how that's not seen as a DEI pick, I don't know either, but it is. I mean, they had to offset female Black, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a limited pool, but they were all pretty good, and he was the best, and they picked him.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I think it brings the Democratic coalition together, and I'm excited for what's to come. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.